Well, Roy, I appreciate you having me over. Can I ask you a question before we start? I like to ask everyone this question, Roy, because I want to be able to tell you what you really need to hear in order to get your home sold. Can I ask you a question?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Can I have your permission to be 100% honest with you in this appointment?
I would actually appreciate that.
Okay. And I ask that because I might say something that you don't like, and I realize you might choose not to work with me solely based on the fact that I give you information you don't want to hear. But I would much rather tell you the truth and have you not use me than tell you something that just because I want your listing and then have you mad at me for the next 4 or 5 months because you're not going to sell. Does that make sense?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay,
perfect. Listen, I want the truth.
Okay, awesome. And every person says it. Okay, great.
So stop for 1 second. No, so is he attached to the outcome?
No.
Did he just kind of say, look, you might not want to list your house with me, and that's okay?
Yeah.
Right? That's actually
I do that on every appointment, and because when I come back to price, they're like, well, the other agent said, I said, remember the other agent's telling you what you want to hear? I'm just look at the facts. You tell me why is your home worth more than these other homes? If they're, you know what I'm saying? But by saying that up front, I can come back to it later on, and it helps me to get that close. I don't ever get hung up on price back later on in the appointment. So, awesome. Okay. All right, great. So before we get started, there's a couple questions I got to ask you real quick. And really, Roy, selling your house is going to come down to a couple things. Number one is going to be the price we set on your home. Number two is going to be the accessibility to show your home. And the third thing is going to be is basically making sure that every possible buyer in this area can actually find your house for sale. Fair enough?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. So before we get started, where are you moving to again?
Moving to San Diego.
San Diego. And you got to be there how soon?
Well, my wife's already there.
Wife's
but you know, I'm doing this whole decision-making thing on this, so she's on whatever I do, whatever we decide here.
Okay, so she's there already, so you're
She's
probably
already there, yeah.
pretty motivated, I'm guessing, to get there with your wife.
Yeah, you know, my job doesn't really start for another 60 days, but, you know, I mean, she's taking care of the place by herself and getting everything unpacked and all that. So.
Okay, fair enough. And
But
what
we
price-
don't want to give it away, so it's not like I'm going to...
Yeah. No. If you're giving away, I'd take it. And so what price are you asking again, though, Roy? I know you don't want to give away.
Well, I mean, you know, we've been on Zillow and stuff, and our neighbor, actually, we just got done talking to our neighbors who, they know the people who sold that house over on Jones Street, and they got $785 for that, and ours is way nicer.
Cool.
So, I mean, I'm hoping for something in the 850s.
850, okay. And then how much do you owe?
But I don't know.
No, fair enough. And we'll go over that. And how much do you owe on the property?
420.
420, okay, great. So on a scale of 1 to 10, if 1's getting the most money and 10 is sell it the quickest, where would you say you're at?
Well, I mean, I don't want to be here forever, but I don't think those things are mutually exclusive. I want to get top dollar for this property.
Okay. Well, and I bring that up because obviously there's a price where I could have your home sold tomorrow, but there's also, if we overprice it, it's never going to sell. So I always ask people that question, Roy, so that I can understand a little bit better if you're more motivated that you really need it to sell, or if it doesn't sell, what are your options? Are you okay just keeping it here on the market?
Well, no, we have to sell.
You have to sell.
But like I said, I mean, I'm okay with waiting to get a good price.
For sure. Okay, well, the beauty of this is, the good news is usually waiting doesn't help you get a better price. So I'm going to help you figure out the right price so we get it sold as quickly as possible. But I just want to see what your motivation is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, I'm not giving it away, and I know people want to negotiate, so.
Yeah. No, and we're going to go over price so we can take a look.
Okay,
All right. So that's my pre-qualifying questions before I dig into what and then I would basically start going through a CMA and looking at comps.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks. Jimmy, give it up, Jimmy. So what is the key to not being attached to the outcome? Don't talk to me. He already said this once. What's the key?
Having enough people coming through that it doesn't matter.
I love
Just go
that.
on
Did
to
you
the
guys hear what she said?
No.
Say it louder. Stand up.
Having enough prospective people coming through your database that it doesn't matter, you can just move on to the next one.
Yes. John.
Basically generating enough leads that you move on to the next lead.
Abundance with a capital B. Just kidding.
And people might be sitting there thinking, well, I don't have as many leads as they do, but that's only because you choose to spend your time with poor leads as opposed to going out and finding new better leads.
Say that again.
People are sitting there right now going, that's great for them to say, but I don't have as many leads as they do. And that's only because you've chosen to spend your time with poorer quality leads than going out and finding new ones.
Who doesn't agree with that? Be honest.
I totally.
Do you agree with that? a lot of times, because I've said that before to people in a different way too, and a lot of times you'll find that people don't agree with that. And I know there's people in here who didn't raise their hand who don't agree with that, and they just don't want to be challenged, and that's okay. But what I'm hearing you say, Jimmy, is that your business and your abundance and what you're coming from and whether or not you need to be attached to the outcome is a choice you're making in your business right now. Yeah? Do you know, so what is that choice? Who knows what that choice is?
Get more leads.
Get more leads. What business are you guys in?
Lead
generation.
Isn't that choice relative to,
Yes.
to the lead generation as opposed to a referral? In other words, if your wife's mother
Mm-hmm.
refers her other daughter to you, you're not gonna not be attached to it.
True. But if you choose to go out and work for that person instead of getting leads, what are you doing? What's the choice you're making? Yes, Jimmy?
Your family and friends would be the ones that are the worst if you don't put them in their place quickly. They're the ones that you show 40 homes to, that never end up making a decision. And so, like, I have one of my best friends wanted to buy a house. He gave me his criteria. He called me yesterday. He goes, dude, I haven't seen anything from you in 2 weeks. I said, dude, I told you 2 weeks ago you're not going to. You're not realistic. I can't put any time into it because what you want doesn't exist. So you need to get on page with your wife if you really want to buy a house, and let's freaking either you got to go up in your price about 40 grand if you want what you're asking for, or we've got to find you something else, like
Or
buy a
sell it.
condo. And
Change your price or
so
your
he told me
price?
he's going to call me back because he's got to talk to his wife. But I didn't spend any time wasting him, but he's one of my really good friends.
Mm-hmm.
But that same thing is, I treat him the exact way I would any client, because what happens is if you don't, then they start seeing you less as a professional, and they start treating you less as a professional, and next thing you know, you're discussing your commissions with them as well, because they don't see you worth anything, so.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree with that. And here's the other thing. If it's somebody that you love, or somebody referred to you by somebody that you love, don't you kind of owe them the truth? I mean, isn't the truth kind of in our society right now? Do you think there's an abundance of the truth or a lack of the truth? Yeah, it's in short supply, right? So for the same reason that prices are up 21% in 2013 in Sonoma County, which is houses are in short supply and there's high demand, there's high demand for the truth. The truth is very valuable in society today. It's always been valuable, right? But it's going to be perceived as even more valuable because it's more scarce than it used to be.
I think it works for you in other ways, not just with that person, but in terms of your reputation. So
Yeah.
you tell the truth and people are like, wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't be in this market, but I have a friend who could be. I'm going to hook them up with you because you told me the truth.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Jim.
The worst call in all real estate is a price reduction on a friend, right? I mean, is there anything worse?
Exactly.
There's nothing worse, and so I'm overly, like, honest with friends and family. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna list your home higher than that. If you list it higher, I want you to know up front, it's not gonna sell, so don't be mad at me when it doesn't sell, because I hate that conversation. It drives people out of the business. That conversation, you have to call a family or friend and get a price reduction, there's nothing worse.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, all of this leading up to why do you think, when we're talking about your unique value proposition and your big why, what's important about the needs analysis before we can dive into your unique value proposition? Why is that important?
It gives you a target, kind of.
Gives you a target? Okay, I agree with that. What else?
You need to know their values and what's important to
What they
them.
care about. But is that going to change what you're passionate about in your business? Is that going to change the reason why you're in business? Probably not.
No, but it'll change maybe how I present that.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. This is why we did this. And a lot of people, and so when you talk about abundance, here's the key. You're making a choice in your business every day, and this is what kills dreams, right here. And this isn't part of the class, but this I'm very passionate about this. If this vector right here is dollars, and this vector right here is time, when you first get in the real estate business, and some of you guys are getting your licenses, so this is important. When you first get in the real estate business, here's where you're at. You haven't made any money in real estate yet, and you haven't spent any time in real estate yet. And you go to classes, and you learn stuff, and because you haven't made any money, either you're going to quit the business when you continue to not make money, or you're going to do the things that are going to result in you doing what? Getting business, which is lead generation. So here's what you do. You work like a dog. You do everything that everybody says. In fact, a lot of times you get your hair blown back with too many ideas and you get like analysis paralysis. What am I going to do? I don't know. This looks good, right? Well, let's just say you pick one thing to do and it's successful. You work really hard at it and, hey, get a couple of deals in escrow. I have an agent right now who just started and they've been in the business 3 weeks. They have 2 weeks. Yeah. 3. He's been in business 3 weeks, has 2 deals, 1 listing, 1 buyer. Because he worked like a dog when he got in here, and he listened to everything, and he just absorbed everything, and he went out and actually took action and did it. Here's what happens. So now, 2 deals in escrow, right? And right about here, what happens?
Stop lead generation.
All of this, yes, thank you. All of this that he did right here to get leads stopped right here. Stopped cold. Now you could say, okay, well he's new and he doesn't know how to do a deal. And he's got a TC, but he has to learn how to do it, and so he's going to focus. He's got a baby, because if these deals don't close, what happens? Doesn't get paid. So he's going to babysit these deals. Here's something, and so for a new agent, that's usually the reason why. And then you get paid here, and then what happens? And guess how long that is? Usually about 90 days. And I don't care whether this check is 10 grand or 30 grand. If this is what your business is going to look like, on and on and on, getting paid every 90 days, you'll quit. You can't survive it. If you have a significant other, you'll have the JOB talking. Janice, I love you. I know you're really good at what you do. But this whole thing with this, yeah, we need your income, and I think you need to go apply at Starbucks.
Apply where?
Where? Doesn't matter. Right? So you can't survive this, and this is actually, and so here, so everybody, I started out with new agents, so let's relate this to somebody like me who's been in the business for a long time, or somebody like some of you guys who've been in the business a long time. Same thing still happens, right? But here's the other insidious little thing that comes into play in this for you guys that have been in the business for a while. Right about here, you have a little extra work to do because you have some escrow going, but you have a TC and you've done it before, and you could lead generate. You could lead generate. But hey, man, in 90 days, from here, in another 45 days, I'm getting a $32,000 check. And so it's cool. It's cool. I don't really need to lead generate today. I'm going to take my kayak to the Russian River. Let's take a trip. I know we have to put on the credit card, but don't worry. I got a $32,000 check. We'll pay that then. First of all, that $32,000 check, is that all my money?
No.
No. So, can you say tax trouble? So that's what happens to other, and I've coached lots and lots of agents at all different production levels, and that is a universal truth. Yes, is it, Jimmy? Universal truth of which is why you need coaching, by the way. Because when you get up in the morning and you go to work, and you're getting ready and you're looking in the mirror, you're looking at the boss, and you're looking at your own worst employee. And the reason why the boss is bad is because the boss isn't able to hold the employee accountable. Right? I was. That's exactly what my business was like. Until
I'd fire myself if I could. I'd fire myself if I could.
Yeah. You know what my coach said to me one time? I was married at the time, and my coach said this. My coach said, hey, would your wife and kids be proud of you if they came to work with you one day and watched what you do? And I was like, whoa. So, yeah. It was in a point in my business where I had a lot of deals stacked up and I was doing pretty well. And he goes, you know what? And that year I won the Platinum Award for Keller Williams, which means that I did over a certain amount of volume and stuff. It was like 23 million or whatever that I did that year. I don't know what the threshold was, but I won this Platinum Award. And my coach comes up to me in Vegas in 2005 at the Keller Williams family reunion. And he goes, hey, Roy, you know why you got that Platinum Award? And I thought he was going to say, because you're freaking working hard and you're so good. And I'm like, well, yeah. And he goes, because you're lazy. Who can identify with that? I got the Platinum Award. I was like top, that's pretty high up. But then there's also like quad platinum, guys like Jimmy who do like 179 deals in a year. And he goes, you weren't on stage, because at Platinum Award you don't get to walk on stage. It's not good enough. You weren't on stage. You could have made twice what you made, but you jack around too much and you're lazy. Those were almost his exact words. He owns Summit Funding, Todd Screama. The guy is like a driven individual with a great family life, and he's got it together. And he was right. So the cure for this is, and the way to abundance is, to choose to do the job that you're actually in business to do, which is lead generate. And and then here's the problem. And we're going to take a break before we get into the why right after this. Who needs a break? Okay, so give me 2 minutes. Here's the problem with that, okay? Who has made a New Year's resolution? Who's been to the gym in January? Right? Try to go to the gym in January, you can't even freaking get on a machine. You can't, there's no weights, stuff is all over the place. It's crazy. So it's cool. Wait till February. You'll be the only one there. Not really, but there'll be a lot less people there, right? Elizabeth, you're into fitness.
Yes.
You've seen this, yes? You coach people on physical fitness and stuff, right? You've completely seen this. Here's why. I'm going to tell you, this is the real truth. And this is why people get fired up at a class like this, and then they go back and lead generate for a day. Right? This is why. Because they're like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to get ripped. I'm going to go to the gym for 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, every week. Can you maintain that?
No.
No. I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to go to the gym for an hour a day, every day, 7 days a week. Can you maintain that?
No.
Maybe, maybe not. But it's the same thing with lead generation. So what they do is they go to the gym for 3 hours a day for a week. And then Monday comes around, they're sore because they haven't worked out in a long time. And they're tired. And they're kind of sick of the way it smells. So Monday comes around and they don't go. Or Monday comes around and they go for 15 minutes, or they go and they lift a couple weights and I'm like, screw this. I'm going to go home. So then that's their slip up, then they're done. They'll never come back until next January. It's the same thing with lead generation. I'm going to lead, you know what? Merlino says I need to lead generate 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. And I do say that, I think you do. But if you're not doing it at all, and your plan is now to leave this class and go, okay, I'm going to go back, I'm going to lead generate 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm going to do 8 to 11 every day, Monday through Friday. You won't do it. You'll do it for a day, you'll do it for a week, you'll do it for 2 weeks. And then a day, something will happen. First of all, it's going to work. And you're going to get deals going, then you're going to be too busy, right? And you're not going to lead generate, and then that's when, and then you won't do it anymore. You'll go back, unless you have a coach. So consider, and what's the difference? Who knows the difference between a coach and an accountability partner?
Coach costs money.
No, it doesn't. Coach makes you money. My coach didn't cost me money.
A coach won't tell you what you want to hear.
A coach won't tell you what you want to hear. What's the truth about accountability partners? If you two pair up, what happens? If Tina, if you're responsible for holding Larissa accountable for doing her stuff, and she's responsible for holding you accountable to do your stuff, what happens?
We mutually exclude.
Huh?
We mutually exclude each other.
One day when Tina doesn't have her stuff done, what does Larissa say to her?
That's okay.
I don't have my stuff.
Says I don't have to do mine now because Tina didn't do it.
I don't have to do mine now. And it's kind of, and she's actually probably relieved because she didn't. She already didn't do it. So you kind of let each other off the hook. Coaches don't let you off the hook. And what you mentioned, Sandy, about coaches costing money, I disagree with that. Well, the right coach does not cost you money. The right coach will make you a ton of money.
True.
You'll make the money, but your coach will just make you do what you already know you need to do. So we're going to take a quick 5-minute break.